Well, hello, welcome back. Welcome to London, welcome to Wembley. This is it. A huge heavyweight rematch takes place this Saturday night, live on TNT Sports in the UK, live on ESPN Plus in the States. It's at the OVO Arena, Wembley. And as you can see here, there are two giants slugging it out once again. It's the rematch. It's Joe Joyce, it's Zhilei Zhang, it's this WBO Interim Heavyweight Championship on the line. So many people up here that you're going to want to hear from ahead of this fantastic rematch, including the man himself putting it together, Hall of Fame boxing promoter Frank Warren of Queensberry Promotions. Frank, tee this one up for us. I mean, the heavyweight landscape always catches the attention of the public, and this is a fight with genuine consequences for that landscape.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that's a fact. I mean, everyone wants to see the heavyweights. This is a brilliant rematch against, these two guys are top quality. So much is at stake in this fight. You've got the WBO interim title on the line. The winner of this fight will be definitely called by the WBO to challenge whoever's ever holding the WBO title next year, whilst the loser's going to probably have to wait at least 18 months, 2 years to get a sniff at fighting in a voluntary defence. So everything's on the line. I mean, they're two magnificent fighters who've got spectacular amateur pedigree, both won silver medals in their respective Olympic Games, and I've said it quite a few times now. I thought both of them got robbed. They should have both been gold medalists. They've done everything that's been asked of them as pros. It doesn't get any better than this. This is a fight where everything's on the line. There is a clear path for the winner to get an opportunity to fight for the world title. You have definitely got a seat at the top table. And that's what's going to happen on Saturday. I know they're going to give it all. I know it's going to be, I just know it's going to be exciting. And I am expecting fireworks from this fight.
I think we're all expecting fireworks after seeing the first fight. Frank, let me ask you this. After the way the first fight went, Joe Joyce, of course, had that rematch clause, and there was conversations. Is he going to activate it? Is he not going to activate it? Were you surprised that it did get activated? How did you feel about that?
He activated it within, was it half hour? He was on they wanted it, and that says a lot about Joe and his team. Adam and the team have done a fabulous job. I mean, it's been a pleasure to work with them. They've done a fabulous job, and of course they want to reactivate because they know what's at stake. They know what's on the table. If you're a heavyweight, what do you want to do? You want to fight for the world title. You want to, get your hands on that belt. Besides the glory and all what it brings a lot of riches, a lot of wealth, sets you up for life. They know that. He knows that. And that's why they enacted the rematch clause. And that says a lot about Joe. That says a lot about, he's not gone away and said, look, you know what, I might have to have another fight before I come back into this. No, I want it. That's where I'm at. I mean, Zhilei was going to, when we were negotiating for him to fight Tyson Fury, that he called for the rematch. So that's what happened. So for me, as I say, I'm really looking forward to Saturday. I'm a boxing fan. I love my fights, and I certainly love watching these big guys in action. And as I say, I really do think we're going to get something special on Saturday.
Do you feel like, just final one from you, Frank, before we move down the table, do you feel as though in that first fight that perhaps Joe Joyce underestimated Zhilei Zhang?
I think you can only ask Joe that. I mean, Joe's the guy who's faced him, and he knows that better than everybody. Maybe he did. I mean, including me. We were all talking about, we weren't talking about that fight. We was talking about the world title fight. And everybody was. And that is the danger of overlooking the immediate task. One thing's for sure, he's not overlooking it this time. And I know this man here is not overlooking it. They both know what's on the line here. They know. They're two seasoned heavyweight boxers. With a real good team for it. I just mentioned, Adam and the team, Terry and Tommy Lane, I mean, they've done a fabulous job with what they've done with their man. Sean George's trainer, good trainer, done again an excellent job. This is as good as it gets in heavyweight boxing. good as it gets.
Well, let's bring in Adam Morley. You would have been part of the decision-making process for taking the fight in the first place with Zhilei Zhang, for activating the rematch clause. Tell us why it's going to be different this time from your perspective.
Yeah, thanks, Steph. Good afternoon, everyone. I think last time, you're going to have to ask Joe about, Joe's spoken about taking things seriously, but I think this is a world title fight for us now. It's the equivalent of a world title fight. The winner may well get upgraded, but the level of focus Joe has is at that world title level. I've watched Joe in this camp, how he's acted, how he's behaved, and he's at the top of his game. It reminds me of how he was when he fought Dubois, when he fought Parker. He's so incredibly focused. Saturdays, I sit here in a position where I'm excited for what everyone's going to see on Saturday in terms of Joe's physique and in terms of Joe's game plan and what's going to occur.
And this is really the first time, look, it was the first loss of Joe Joyce's career, first time I guess he's faced mass adversity like that as well. You've been with him his whole career. How has he reacted to that from your perspective? What sort of Joe Joyce are you encountering these days?
Look, when you look at this as like a longer term picture for Joe, he on April the 15th, however we cut it, it was failure. We failed, we lost. And that's been the biggest teacher for all of us, for Joe, for me, to work out what he's got to do in the future to become a world champion. Joe wins this fight. He fights Usyk next as his mandatory. That'll be 3 back-to-back camps of southpaw sparring, and Joe will be at a very high level there. We've learned so many lessons from April 15th. And someone asked me before, are you motivated by proving people wrong? And I don't think neither I nor Joe are motivated by that. It's not about proving people wrong. People can think what they think. Joe Joyce wants to be world champion. He made that clear to me when I met him in 2017. He's going to execute that goal. It's not about proving people wrong. He's learned huge amounts, way more than he would have learned if he didn't have the eye injury and he overcame Zhang on April 15th, which I think was probably the likely outcome if the eye injury hadn't occurred. But he did lose. We've learned tremendously. And this is going to set him up to be world champ.
Just want to touch on something you said there, and I've heard you mention it before as well. If the fight had continued and there was no eye injury to Joe Joyce, you feel like your man was coming on and was taking over and would have won the fight?
Yeah, look, first and foremost, he lost. We took the L, he lost. But when you look at the stats, and I know the stats don't tell everything, Joe was outlanding him 120 punches to 25 in round 5. It was only going to get worse. Joe only gets better. He throws more punches than any heavyweight. He throws more punches than most super middleweights per round. If you look at his stats, he's starting at 80, going up to 100, going up to 120. It's impossible to deal with. The eye injury stopped that progression of Joe up and the progression of Zhang down. So in the end, it would have been a successful night. And I think Zhang's team, Tommy and Terry, the trainer, I've got the utmost respect for them. And they're super intelligent guys. I think they know how this is going to go. And I think they know Zhang's got to be ready for 12 rounds.
Well, let's hear from Team Zhang. Let's bring in trainer Sean George. Sean, you've just heard from Adam Morley. You've heard from Frank Warren as well. Adam Morley is talking about how the first fight back in April would have gone had there been no eye injury to Joe Joyce. He believes his man would have got the job done. What says you?
Good afternoon. I just have Roger Mayweather voice in my head. You don't know shit about boxing if you think that's the case.
You want to know what?
I think that Joe Joyce was on the way to getting knocked out in the 8th round, 9th round. It's just, in my opinion, it seems that you guys are making an excuse for this fight. So boxing for me, boxing for Zhilei and training camp for this fight was awesome. It was amazing, and we're looking to do it again.
Adam, I don't know if you want to reply to that. It's quite a big comment. He's bringing in Floyd Mayweather Senior, Roger Mayweather.
I mean, fair enough. That's his view. I've got my view. We've all got our opinions, haven't we? I mean, the fact is, his guy won the last fight. That's it. That's a fact. We lost. And that's the motivation. The failure is the motivation to win.
Let me ask you this, Sean. There have been some changes to Zhilei Zhang's camp. He's brought in some strength and conditioning. I believe there's been therapists, masseuse, all sorts of changes. Normally, that normally happens after someone's taken a loss, but he's done it as a winning fighter. What's the thinking behind that, and how's that affected this Zhilei Zhang who sits here today?
Just a couple of changes, normal changes. Zhilei is taken to another level. The sport of boxing is a grueling sport, so he's made different changes in the sport of boxing. So for me, Zhilei, each fight is getting better. Each and every fight, round by round, everybody gonna start to see that he'll get more and more and more and more better.
From your side, how do you see this fight playing out on Saturday night?
It's a knockout. That's the only choice that we have. I don't trust the politics of the sport. I don't trust the referees and the judges here. There's only one mission. This fight is not going to distance. This fight will not be going to distance.
Well, that's probably something that I think we all agree on. Let's bring in the challenger this time around, Mr. Juggernaut, Mr. Joe Joyce. Welcome. It's great to have you back.
Yeah, great to be back.
Firstly, let me just ask you this. Why have you taken this rematch?
Because I want that title back there that he took for me last time. So I want it back.
I saw you trying to grab it at the start, actually, as well. He didn't give it up, though.
Yeah, it looks real shiny over there.
I've heard you describe that first fight as a wake-up call. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so exposed a lot of mistakes that me and the team made in the camp, and it's about like correcting those and going to the next fights in whatever, not overlooking Zhang, but need to get those things right. And it kind of exposed them and like made me have to deal with them and really focus and get dedicated in what I'm doing, more dedicated in what I'm doing, and just really improving and to come back stronger and grab that title back.
How big are these changes that you've made this time around then? How does it compare to the camp for the first fight?
Well, it's just like small changes here. Like, a lot of small changes make a big difference, and that's what we've done.
We'll come back to you. We're going to bring in the champion now, the defending WBO interim heavyweight champion, Mr. Zhilei Zhang. Kurt, of course, from the management team, will be translating as ever. And I just want to ask Zhilei, how does he look back on the biggest win of his career back in April? How does he reflect on that win over Joe Joyce?
现在对4月份的比赛赢下来是什么感想
？4月份打完比赛拿到这个腰带，当然离我的目标更进一步。现在他说他要再抢回去，我想说，我就是一只饿虎，我喜欢老虎，我就是一只饿虎，我只可能去捕猎。如果想从我嘴里去夺食，那你要付出代价。
Well, I really enjoy myself after the first victory back in April, and I saw Joe today. He's trying to grab the title back. I just want to say I'm the tiger, and I'm hungry, and you don't take food out of the tiger's mouth.
I love these quotes. You always come up with something. Hopefully he did say that, but yeah. Fantastic.
What about out of his plate? Can I take it out of his plate?
Well, do you want to tell him that about the plate?
I want to take it out of his plate.
这是你的食物，他就把
Not out of his mouth.
一番战的时候，他就已经成为我的猎物，因为一番战我说过，他选择我，就是他们整个团队的失误，是他们团队的失策，然后马上启动2番战，他们团队又犯了一个更大的错误，这将结束他的职业生涯。
For the first fight, you give me the opportunity, but your team made a mistake for choosing me, and your team is going for the rematch, which is a bigger mistake, and I'm here to end your career.
These are heavy words, Joe Joyce. He's here to end your career.
Well, let's see it then. Let's have it.
那就来吧。
我们这一期训练营做了很充分的准备，针对乔伊斯的特点，我们专门请了3个陪练。第一，出拳量要比乔伊斯多得多的阿隆索；第二，要比乔伊斯出拳重的 Dimitri；第三，要比乔伊斯体重更大的 Wak。乔伊斯说他增重了，他可能会上我施压，会向我压过来。 中国有一句谚语叫打铁还需自身硬。
So in this camp, I just want to say that I have 3 different sparring partners. I have one that throws more punches than Joe. I have one that punches harder than Joe, and I have one that weighs a lot more than Joe. And in China, we say, if you want to pressure, I know Joe's going to move up, gain a lot of weight. And in China, we say that, if you pressure makes diamond, and pressure busts the pipes.
Well, Joe, let's bring you in here. Look, he's talked about you moving, putting on some more pounds for this fight. That was a real criticism after the first fight happened. People said Joe Joyce was too light, and that's why he couldn't impose himself on Zhilei Zhang. You look bigger, you look thicker, you look heavier. Is this something that's been on your mind as well?
Yeah, because it was like the sole focus of post-fight where all the comments were. So it was obviously something that I needed to correct and keep an eye on, but it's amongst a lot more different things, different aspects of the camp and myself that I needed to build upon from the last camp, and I've just made sure I've ticked every box and crossed the T's, dotted the I's, and I'm coming for a victory this time.
You've got black the eyes.
Yeah.
What? Black the eyes.
Oh yeah, and not get my eyes black.
Well, actually, look, Zhilei Zhang has said, like when I went to see him at Heathrow Airport the other day to interview him, he made it very clear he is targeting your eye. How are you going to keep out of the way of that?
Well, that's good. Yeah, we'll see on the night. Thanks, Frank. Yeah, we'll see on the night.
Another one of the kind of comments that was levelled at you after that first fight was that perhaps Joe Joyce was starting to believe the hype about his chin. Maybe he thought he was indestructible. There was the Terminator entrance and that kind of thing. Is there any truth in that, Joe?
Yeah, looking back in hindsight, it was a bad choice actually. Like with the Terminator and his eye busted, with the red light coming through, it didn't really go down. It kind of that didn't really go down to work in my favour. So this time we're not going to go with that. We're going to go with a different theme and with a different outcome.
Well, let me ask you, Zhilei Zhang. Look, you are the man. You won the first fight, but it feels like everyone was talking about, well, Joe Joyce was too light. Joe Joyce believed his own hype. Did you get the credit that you deserve for winning that night?
你赢了一番战之后，很多人都在说乔伊斯体重太轻了才输掉的比赛。你觉得你得到应该得的尊重了吗？
我应该得到的尊重，因为在一番战打完之后，然后所有的拳迷都看到了这场比赛。这场比赛在中国的播放量超过3亿次，所以说在中国，然后很多拳迷也在期待着二番战。所以说，周六将是一场更精彩的比赛。
Yeah, I definitely think I got the credit I deserve, and because this whole fight in China alone create more than 330 million views in total. I think I got a lot of recognition here in the UK, in the US, and in China. So I think Saturday is going to be a even more exciting fight than the first one.
Joe, Adam said earlier that had the fight continued with no injured eye, you would have essentially gone on to stop Zhilei Zhang and everything would have gone to plan. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think there's moments in there where I was starting to get to work, but like the eye clearly was, starting to close up, and he was just he kept on hit. Like, I threw more punches, but he kept on hitting me with the more eye-catching, heavier blows, and they're very quick. So he's a good fighter, and but it's a tough test, and it's something that I'm got really up for, and it's a big hurdle that I need to crash through or jump over.
I love a Joe Joyce press conference. Zhilei Zhang, let me ask you this. There seems to be a feeling from that side of the table that had the fight continued with no eye injury, you would have ended up losing that fight. What do you think would have happened had the fight continued without an eye injury?
他们觉得眼睛不受伤，他们就肯定赢了。
Maybe， 因为在一番战的裁判当中，确实有一位来自英国的裁判打分，在6个回合之内说他5个回合 说乔伊斯领先，所以说赛前我讲过，我不会把结果交给裁判，我会把结果牢牢地攥在自己手中。这一战一样，我还会把结果攥在我自己手里。
Maybe. Because when you look at the scorecard, one of the judges had him up on the scorecard after the fight. So like I said, I'm not going to give judges any opportunities. I said it in the first fight. I'll say it again in the second fight. I'll do the same.
You've made it very clear that you are going after the eye. Tell us more about that.
你说要打他眼睛，再仔细说一说。
对，我知道他的弱点是他的眼睛，这一次我还会打他的眼睛。
Yeah, it's nice and simple. I know his weakness is his eyes. I'm going to go for his eyes. That's it.
And do you think 5 months is long enough for him to make the adjustments he needs to adjust to Zhilei Zhang?
5个月的时间够他做调整吗？
他调整不过来，他只能看着我的拳去打他的眼睛，他只能用眼睛去迎接我的拳。
No, I don't think so. I think 5 months is too short. He's going to welcome my punches.
Was that welcome the punches? Was that? Like, he's going to
His punches are not welcome here. Okay?
No punches welcome. Look, Joe, let me ask you this: how important is this? I mean, we're having a bit of fun, bit of a laugh up here, but this is serious stuff on Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah, very serious stuff. And I've trained seriously for this, so it's it's about time that I get my success and move on from this. But yeah, it's a big, tough test, and it's going to be a great fight Saturday night. So I'm really looking forward to getting the victory this time round.
All right, well, let's start wrapping it up now. Let's get a final message. Actually, Frank, I'll come to you first. Just a word on, it's a brilliant fight, live on TNT Sports in the UK, ESPN Plus in the States. We've got a great undercard as well, Frank.
It's a fabulous undercard, some real good fights on there. Some of our best talent in the UK are fighting on the show. So it's got everything. It's got a fabulous heavyweight fight. As I say, great undercard. But this heavyweight fight, I think it's going to be a candidate for Fight of the Year.
And of course, Anthony Yard, amongst others, returns on the card as well.
Yeah, Anthony's back. We was at the Arsenal last night watching them play. We seemed to have a good result there. So hopefully, though, that'll continue on Saturday. He'll do well. And the objective for him is to get that ring rust out of his system, and we're getting back in for a shot at the title by the end of the year.
All right, let's get final words down the table. Sean George, I'll come to you first. I think you've made your prediction very clear. You had echoes of Mayweather about what Adam Morley said. Give us your final thoughts heading into Saturday.
It's actually going to be a fun fight. It's going to be a good fight. I really do have a lot of respect for Joe. I've been watching Joe since 2014 when he was in the amateurs in the chemistry cup. He's a tough, determined fighter, but Zhilei is the same. Still pay the bills over here, though.
Adam Morley.
Yeah, look, we've got the utmost respect for Zhilei Zhang. He's a world-class fighter, and I think it's going to be a tremendous fight. I think that when people spar Joe, they say 1 round with Joe is like 3 rounds with someone else. I think the Zhang camp have spoken about just the knockout, but I think, you don't really judge them by their words, you judge them by their actions. They've gone into strength and conditioning. They know Zhilei needs to go longer, and it's going to get tougher and tougher with him in the fight. They probably anticipate that Joe's going to miss the backhand this time, and they need to go longer. And I think they're going to figure out what it's really like when Joe Joyce is on you, rounds 8, 9, 10, and that strength and conditioning won't help then.
Joe Joyce, repeat or revenge?
I don't like to say revenge, but a win will help. And then I can go on.
A revengeful win.
Yeah. Redemption.
Redemption on Saturday night for Joe Joyce. Let's get final word from the champion this time round, the WBO interim champion, Zhilei Zhang. What's going to happen in this fight on Saturday night? Tell us.
周六感觉会是什么样的结果呢？
周六的比赛肯定比4月份的比赛更加精彩，请大家拭目以待。
Wouldn't say repeat, but it's going to be more exciting than April. Please tune in.
All right, brilliant. Frank, any final words from yourself?
East is going to meet West, and on Saturday night we're going to find out who's the best. It's going to be a great fight.
Drop that mic. Drop that mic. Goodness me. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be live for the weigh-in stream tomorrow across the Queensberry, Top Rank and TNT socials. We're going to do a face-off here down the front. And do not forget, this Saturday night, as Frank said, East meets West. Big, big fight. Big heavyweight rematch. Thank you.